Cool. Hi, I'm Jason from BodyWorx Physio. Today we're going to have a look at wrist and thumb taping. So this is really useful, the wrist for if you're doing weights or boxing or even with footy and that. And the thumb's really good if you have any of the netball or footy injuries where you knock the thumb backwards and you just want to stabilise that thumb joint. So the first one we're going to do is for the wrist, because you can use that as a base tape for the thumb. So you can use the hypersensitive tape underneath. I know a few footy boys that are very sensitive about their arm hairs and we have to use the hypersensitive tape, but for most people you can just go straight to the rigid. And what we want to do is lay it on the front of the wrist and then pull the strips over. Down at the base, a few inches from the wrist, you don't have to put too much tension on it. As we come up a little higher, overlapping it by about half, we put a little bit more tension through the tape. So what I'm doing is I'm basically laying it on nice and gently on the little finger side, on the low side. And I'll just turn the hand around that way so you can see that as I'm putting it on, laying on the little finger bit, and then putting a bit of tension through the thumb as we come down. Normally you wouldn't tape it in this position, but I'm just doing that so you can see it a little bit more clearly. So once again, in through there, and you'll find it's going to angle up across the hand a little bit when you go high enough. You can then, once that's there, pop a little bit of tape just across there to hold the ends down. What that'll do, you want to make sure you come up past the base of the thumb here, because when you make a fist, it expands out at this section and tightens the tape on that part of the wrist to stabilise the carpal joints. But when you relax, the tension comes off the tape. So that's really important that when you're boxing, as you grip and punch, it tightens the wrist, but then when you relax the fist back out, it takes the tension back off the tape. So you're not always constricting that wrist joint. And also, the reason we lay it on at the front and then put tension once we get round to the sides is because all your veins, arteries and key nerves run down through the centre here, so we don't want to put high amounts of pressure across the front of the wrist here. This is also useful like if you're in footy and you're grabbing someone's jersey or that. It's because that way when you grab the jersey and hold on, it tightens around the wrist, so if you've got any instability, it's giving you that support while you're needing it. From there, we can use that as a base for the thumb tape. If you just don't need the wrist stability stuff and you just want to do it just plain for the thumb, you can just put two normal strips just like that, just around the wrist without any tension, and that can be your anchors for your thumb. So next bit for the thumb, we've got a standard 38mm again, and tear it down the centre. You can get thumb width tape, but I usually just use a 38mm and split it. And so with this, we want to try and stabilise this next joint up from the thumb. So we start on an angle, once again just showing just like that. We come down around the thumb, round through there. And I usually say, if you think about it, you've got a beer in your hand, so you want to hold it just out, hold the thumb around, down a bit more. Good. Down, around, and back down around the thumb. Don't put too much tension through the webbing, because if you put too much tension through this webbing bit here, it's going to be really uncomfortable, and they may have trouble using the thumb. And then I'll usually do it back the other way. So once again, putting that strip on at an angle. Much easier when you can see what you're doing and you're not trying to show the camera. And then down around like that. And back down. So you can see from here, it's coming up and around and down. And you're getting that nice crisscross pattern across the thumb here, so that it just stabilises this joint in through here. You can take that a little bit higher, but you will notice as you go higher up through here, it's going to come down across higher in the hand. And that's fine, just let the tape go where it wants to stabilise it. If you try and fight it too much, you're going to end up with heaps of creases in there. So once you've done that, that just helps stabilise the hand. You can then finish it off. And so normally I do another 2 strips on there. I've just done 2 to demonstrate, so usually I'd use 3 or 4 in total. Once you've done those strips, lock the ends down just with another strip of tape just around the wrist there. Okay. While we're here, a quick talk about fingers. So if you are doing fingers, once again, you can just tear off the 38mm in half rather than having to go and buy specific finger width tape. If you're taping for long periods of time, so if you're taping it over a few days, you usually would get a little bit of foam or padding to stick in between. Taped my own leg hairs into the tape. Foam or padding to put in the fingers. You can just get a little bit of tape and just slip that in between the two. So if you want to tape those two up, just stops the knuckles rubbing on each other. And then just placing the tape down around there. And we want to make sure we tape on either side of the joint that we're targeting. So if we're targeting this joint here, trying to angle the tape if you can, so you get the tape across the bone part and not covering the joints. That way, once it's taped, you'll still be able to bend the fingers, but it's going to support those joints and hold it in nice, stable. So I've got our wrist strap, so just around the base and pulling the ends as we come up. Our thumb strap, once we've got our anchors on our wrist, we do our little figure eights around the thumb, and our fingers just playing around the ends there. Thanks, hope that video helps, and give us a call if you have any problems. For more information or to book online, visit www.bodyworxphysio.com.au. Have a great day.